It's hard to believe you're on a sailboat.
It's hard to believe you didn't take me. Next week on World Stage 86, the Unicorn. That's the Expo pub run by the Irish Rovers, and it's an astounding success.
We'll celebrate Automobile Weeks with a look at a Russian stunt driving team. You don't see many of them.
And we'll bring you a smorgasbord of Expo entertainment, including the fabulous Broadway musical 42nd Street.
If you can make Expo 86 part of your summer plans, we'd love you to come out and see us here in Vancouver.
But if you can't come in person, we hope you join us each week at this time on television.
In Vancouver for World Stage 86, I'm Wayne Cousins.
And I'm Ramona Marr. See you at Expo.
British Columbia.
Russian stunt drivers show us how they do it in Moscow.
Straight lives again.
The United Nations brings a message of peace to our World's Fair.
And Sarita brings new meaning to the art of belly dancing.
Those features and more here on World Stage 86. Vancouver, the height of summer and the height of Expo 86.
The World's Fair is making many new friends for this city as they pour in from just about everywhere.
Hi, I'm Wayne Cousins.
And I'm Ramona Marr. This week on World Stage 86, the colorful events of the World Drum Festival. Can you beat that?
Ooh, I'll try. The UN Pavilion. We'll take a look at their inspiring efforts toward world peace.
Judy Piercy will take us on board the historic Golden Hind of Sir Francis Drake.
We'll preview a big BC celebration by local entertainers, and we'll meet Sarita.
Down, boy. First of all, we'll meet some of the many people who are coming to Vancouver for Expo. Bill Dobson found the perfect spot to do that.
I wanted to find a good way to get a cross-section of visitors coming to Expo. So I came to the Capilano Trailer Park in North Vancouver. They had about 300 units in here last night, and they're from all corners of North America.
It's early morning in the park, and people are just getting ready to go to Expo. A man from Denver, Colorado.
You gonna go to Expo?
Yeah, we're going there today. So hopefully it won't be too crowded.
A man from Los Angeles thinks Expo is really great.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. So many countries all, you know, into one, and you can see all different people and their customs and their trades and everything. It was wonderful, yes.
And here's another busy Californian.
Have to get the generator going now and then, do you?
Well, wife would like to iron a skirt before we go to the fair.
How long have you been here?
We've been here just since yesterday and haven't been to the fair yet.
Oh, looking forward to it?
We're very much looking forward to it. We've been traveling through from Calgary, and we think Canada is just beautiful.
And from Spokane, Washington.
We sure enjoyed what we saw, and you've done an excellent job here. I've never seen anything so well organized for so many people.
Morning. Morning. Where are you from? Florida. Have you ever been up here before?
Not in this part. No.
What do you think of it?
Oh, it's great. Even the weather, we don't mind it. We're having a good time. We're not even taking our rain gear today.
Have you been to Expo yet?
Yes,
2 days.
This will be our third day.
What do you think of that?
Well, we love it. We were to Montreal, and we're really impressed with the Canadian expositions.
And we even found some Canadians here.
Have you been to Expo yet?
Twice. This is our third day.
What do you think of it?
Oh, wonderful. Fantastic.
What's your favorite thing?
The British Columbia Pavilion. That was really remarkable.
Expo? Yeah.
Where's that?
Yeah. Where are you from?
Arizona.
How do you like our part of the country?
Oh, it's great today.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready for this rain that we had, but we plowed right on through.
Did you go to Expo?
Certainly.
And how do you like it?
We think it's fantastic.
That's great. Anything favorite that you've seen so far?
Well, we started out with the Canadian Pavilion, and that's been our best. And we've enjoyed everything. And we label this Expo 86.
The summer of 1986, a happy destination for travelers. From the Capilano RV Park for World Stage 86, I'm Bill Dobson.
When I heard that Expo was organizing a World Drum Festival, I wasn't too excited. After all, drums? A lot of rhythm, but not too much melody. Definitely not my kind of entertainment. Well, I guess I was wrong.
For the past 2 weeks, Expo has been booming with the sounds of drums from around the world. In fact, over 200 percussionists brought their rhythms here to celebrate the World Drum Festival. And oh, what a treat! At the Amiga Theatre, the air was filled with the unusual sounds of Ontario's Nexus. From the Soviet state of Georgia, we met a drummer dance group called Arero. Canadian Northern life was told simply by the intriguing sounds of Dene drummers from the Northwest Territories. And Korean folk dancing is much more breathtaking this way, don't you think? From the heartbeat of Korea to the rhythms of Africa, this is the Matana. And this is one of my favorites, a steel drum. Ken Isles of St. Vincent is the expert here. I thought it looked easy, so Ken let me try.
Think I could make it? I think you could, yes.
I doubt it.
If you want to.
From now on, I think I'll stick to drumming my fingers. So what do you do for a grand finale? You put all 250 drummers up on one stage, that's what. And the beat goes on. From the World Drum Festival at the Expo Theatre, I'm Ramona Marr. Still ahead on World Stage, the UN brings a message of peace to our World's Fair. The Golden Hind lives again, and Sarita weaves her own special magic at Expo.
Want to buy a hat to protect you in the outback? The Australian gift shop at Expo has them, just like the Aussies wear. And sheepskin jackets to protect you from the cold. They also have toy koalas. I know they're not bears. And there are signs for your den saying watch out for kangaroos, koalas, and wombats. I think I have wombats in the belfry. Oh yes, and you can buy boomerangs. You don't throw them, you know, you fly them, and they will come back. But don't try it in the crowds at Expo, they'll take somebody's head off.
Each of the 54 countries at Expo is naturally biased towards its own goals, its own view of the world. But there's one pavilion that speaks for all of them, the United Nations Pavilion. Here's Wayne.
The United Nations represents cooperation and understanding. This mural behind me symbolizes the way in which the UN serves to bring the people and the nations of the world together. But it's only part of a greater message which you will discover inside. That message is peace. The United Nations has chosen 1986 as the International Year of Peace. The theme of the UN Pavilion is Peace Through Communications, and exhibits demonstrate the positive ways in which peace can be achieved through modern communications technology. Cameras are set up so you can see yourself on closed-circuit TV after recording your own personal message for peace. Michelle Archambault is one of the pavilion's staff.
People are saying that peace is something that has to start within the individual. You're at peace with yourself, and then there'll be peace in the world. Other people are very aware of the nuclear question, the fact that we have many arms, and that's sort of hanging over our heads. Other than that, it's very personal.
Is there something that you would like them to learn from recording these messages?
To learn? Well, simply that the idea of peace has to be talked about and thought about, and if they're thinking about it obviously enough to come up and say something about it, then that's a start.
If you're a bit shy to go in front of the camera, you can express your thoughts on paper. People are really taking advantage of the opportunity to make a commitment towards peace.
Well, I think we need messages for peace because I think everyone has to understand what peace is, and I think everybody wants peace but doesn't know how to accomplish it.
My writing in this book won't affect world peace.
It won't at all?
No, unless it clarifies in my own mind. I don't think anybody else is going to read this, are they?
They just might.
Oh, well, then they'll hear my opinions.
It's worth trying, even just a small portion. Maybe it will work. We have to start somewhere.
There's plenty of interesting information that will give you a realistic idea of the challenge we all face, and some of it may shock you, like the $2 billion per day spent worldwide on armaments, a figure that becomes even more staggering as it grows over the course of a single year.
We're really, really pleased. We are in, I think, the top 10. A couple publications have called us one of the top 10 because we're sort of a human pavilion. We use technology, but we have a message. So we're really pleased about that, people's reactions, and we hope everyone comes to see us.
And that message is?
That peace is possible, and that peace is everyone's responsibility.
Unfortunately, Vancouver lost most of the tall ships to the Statue of Liberty celebrations in New York. However, we still managed to attract a number of wonderful vessels. One of them is Sir Francis Drake's immortal square rigger, the Golden Hind.
In 1980, this replica of the Golden Hind retraced Drake's historic circumnavigation of the world. Now she sits at Expo's Marine Plaza. In Drake's day, there might be 100 people on board, not counting livestock for food and other stores such as liquor and wine kept on the gun deck. When you go below, you wonder how on earth they managed. This was definitely not a luxury cruise. Today, she carries a crew of 10 to 12 men and women. Douglas Grossart is the bosun.
It's a mixed crew as well with nationalities. We have Danish, New Zealand, Portugal, Scottish, English, the works. We get on well enough, and you can never be at sea for that length of time without having your arguments. You make a great effort not to have arguments, and when you do have an argument, it's a real big blowout, and then the next day everything's okay. It's got to be that way, otherwise to be murdered aboard the ship.
Well, if not murder, then certainly mayhem. Incidentally, headroom below decks is just over 5 feet in some places. In others, it's less than that. Douglas is 6'5".
When I first joined the ship, I would forget to duck, and I knocked myself out a couple of times, but you soon learn after you've done that a couple of times. I don't bang my head very often now.
Come on, you lot, get up here!
It takes a lot to work this ship. After all, there are over 4,000 square feet of canvas to manhandle, and it's all done as it was 300 years ago. And her lines are not what you'd call sleek.
It's just an upward motion. She rolls. In Bay of Biscay, we were in a storm for a week, just about. And she was rolling 45 degrees either way from horizontal. And she pitches, the waves come right up over the foredeck.
Clumsy she may be, but the restoration of the Golden Hind is considered a milestone in the history of naval architecture. There were no plans as such, so research was taken from every available scrap of historical evidence, and not a little bit of inspired speculation. There were a few rules of thumb, however, in the 16th century. This is taken from a manuscript found in the Pepys Library in Cambridge. Proportions for shipping. The breadth is arbitrary, ye depth must never be more than 1/2 ye breadth, nor less than 1/3. The length never less than double ye breadth, nor more than treble, and so on. So you can imagine the problems they had in the 20th century figuring that out. But somehow they did, and the result is this wonderful piece of the past come to life again. There are a few modern accoutrements on board, a small engine and a ship-to-shore radio housed, as it happens, in Drake's cabin. He had the only cabin, the only bunk, and the only 2 chairs on the ship. One here in his cabin, and one in the great cabin, where he entertained the people going along for the voyage, perhaps to protect their interests in a cargo, and probably constantly getting underfoot. The attention to detail is exquisite. Everything is the way it was in the 1500s. There is a school of thought that Drake actually reached these shores before Captain Vancouver ever did. We could have been living in Drakeville instead of Vancouver. I would think to sail on the Golden Hind would be the most incredible adventure, and just think you'd be part of history, too. For World Stage 86, somewhere between here and my imagination, I'm Judy Piercy.
With transportation in the spotlight because of Expo, the British have brought a new kind of rail vehicle to Vancouver. They're obviously hoping for sales. Cam Cathcart takes a look at this new train.
The old interurban tram last ran into the Fraser Valley more than 30 years ago. This summer, memories of that service were revived with the rail bus, a 6-week demonstration of how a modern interurban service could run again. The arriving rail bus at Front Street in U.S. Minster signals the end of another round trip to Abbotsford. For older passengers, it was a trip down memory lane.
I used to come through here when I was a kid. We used to leave Carroll Street in the morning, go out to Chilliwack, take your lunch. You had pick cherries out of Chilliwack and then come back in on it at night.
For younger riders, it's a new world of commuter travel.
It's nice that I don't have to drive into Vancouver because looking forward to just sitting back and relaxing.
Except for the modern design and absence of overhead wires, the rail bus bears a striking resemblance to the interurban trams that operated on the same track for 50 years, then dropped from service in the 1950s.
People pay attention to this, will you know? Yesterday I got salmon sandwiches, all the coffee you could possibly want.
The friendly conductor on the Abbotsford New Westminster run is Don Moore of BC Hydro Railway.
This is just a temporary thing for transporting people to Expo. It's not promoted as a commuter service yet. There's obviously a need for it as the government or the Metro has gone and let a contract for SkyTrain to go through, so they've obviously done a study. It'd be nice if they'd come and take a look and talk to us. We could save them a pile of bucks.
BC Rail has also tested the rail bus on its line between North Vancouver and Squamish. During this trip, there was a brief encounter with another era of rail travel, as the legendary Royal Hudson waited for the rail bus to pass. The rail bus will operate into the Fraser Valley through the end of next weekend. Cam Cathcart for World Stage 86.
On World Stage, BC's best entertainers plan a big show at Expo, and Sarita shows why belly dancing is called belly dancing.
Just because you've visited a pavilion at Expo doesn't mean you've seen everything. Some things come and go. In the Japan Pavilion, several craftsmen have been making kokeshi dolls. The contemporary kokeshi is machine-made of mitsugi, a Japanese dogwood. It takes the paint and wax very well and turns out a smooth finish. Looks easy, but there is a secret. The Norugo kokeshi consists of 2 pieces, a head and a body. The neck joining of Noguro kokeshi is made by what some call a friction technique, in which the head and body never separate. Yet, at the end, the head can be turned with a pleasant squeaking sound.
On Sunday, August 3rd, there'll be a giant concert at Expo featuring 30 of British Columbia's best performers. Wayne tracked some of them down at a recent rehearsal.
BC's best musicians having fun, not to mention rehearsing for the big celebration show at Expo. The producer is Robbie King.
We have some really well-known people like Nancy Nash, Paul Horn, Shari Ulrich,
Jim Burns, Rick Scott, Bim, and some people that probably haven't been seen so often in BC, like Andor Kovacs Jr., who's a wonderful jazz guitarist, Noel Spooner, Billie Jean, names that aren't familiar. But the interesting thing is when we did the first celebration, almost none of the people's names were familiar. And that was 11 years ago, and now they're household names in BC.
Robbie King started the celebration series over 10 years ago. This newest concert is the biggest ever, and part of it is this new song by Shari Ulrich.
One heart, one night, one star, my light, in the dark you are.
There's no star billing in this concert. It is just a bunch of people who love to perform, gathering together to do what they love best. It's August 3rd. It's at the Plaza of Nations, sponsored by the BC Pavilion as part of BC Days. And it's a free concert. It begins at 8:30, and it'll go right to the fireworks. If we can do it, that our last note rings into the first note of the fireworks, heaven helping us, that's what we'll do.
One star, my light, in the dark you are, you are, you are.
When we talk about entertainment at Expo, we think of musicians, jugglers, clowns, and dancers. Bill Dobson became fascinated with one dancer in particular.
Fascinated, I couldn't take my eyes off her. Her name is Serita, and she's a belly dancer who appears every so often in front of Zorba's restaurant at Expo. Sarita is 30 years old and was born in the Puerto Rican section of Los Angeles, but Vancouver has been her main home since 1972. Dancing in the open air is not what she's used to, but she certainly doesn't mind.
I like it, and sometimes I don't. Sometimes I get shy, and sometimes it doesn't bother me, but I enjoy it. What I really enjoy is when people line up around, you know, people that are passing by that are just visiting Expo, they just line up around the rail here.
It only takes about a minute. Once they first see you, the crowd is like a magnet. Draws the crowd.
Yeah, I don't know why, but I guess it's a combination of the music and the fact that there's something going on, and people just like to watch. They're curious. But it's wonderful because I get really good energy from people here. I've had this has got to be one of the best audiences I've ever had.
You'll notice that Serita works with a bottle of Canada Cooler. With her muscle control, she doesn't spill a drop. If I don't see another act at Expo, this one does it for me. At Zorba's at Expo for World Stage 86, I'm Bill Dobson.
What can I say?
You can see it makes for pretty darn good exercise.
Next week on World Stage 86, an entire show devoted to British Columbia Day.
We'll be enjoying a variety of BC activities on and off the Expo site,
including a logging show that's drawing huge crowds at Expo, and a preview of the fabulous Abbotsford Air Show. Don't miss it.
In Vancouver for World Stage 86, I'm Ramona Marr.
And I'm Wayne Cousins. See you at Expo.
New planes fly at the Abbotsford Air Show.
The inside story of a wonderful